Starting now, this is Real People. Real issues. Real news. Real people.
I'm Stephanie Allensworth, and this is Real People.
This is Real People.
Hi, welcome to Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth. I am here today with Patty Peterson from the Peterson family. And as you can see, we've got this beautiful award here. They have been inducted into the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame. I'm so happy to have Patty here with me again. She's a returning guest. Patty, hey.
Thank you. What an open. I mean, really, seriously, it's so much fun to be here again. And it's been such a huge year for me, as it has been for you, since we last met in front of the camera. So great to be with you, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so proud of you. There's so much that you've been doing. Let's go into a little bit about it, the Music Hall of Fame.
Right. You know, actually, the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame happened on November 1st, 2019, and my siblings, Linda, Billy, Ricky, Paul, and myself were inducted, as well as my sister Linda's son, Jason Peterson Dallaire. And we had such a marvelous time, like a mini family reunion in New Ulm. And, the induction ceremony is on the Friday night. And then Saturday, they open up the museum of the artifacts of all of the inductees in New Ulm. And you get to go visit the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame and see through the years just who they have inducted. From Judy Garland to Sounds of Blackness to the Steels to so many more that I can't even name, including my mom, Jeannie Arlen Peterson.
Oh, how fun is that? Now, and they had artifacts there from her from when she was inducted.
Yes, and of course Prince as part of that, Mick Sterling, the Blenders. Dylan, of course, thank you for reminding me, yeah. But it's worth the drive. They have kept this museum in New Ulm because I asked them, Why is it here? A lot of people do ask that question because they thought it up.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's the polka capital of the world. And as it turns out, they decided, no, wait a minute, before we make it the Polka Hall of Fame, has anybody ever taken the time to do a Hall of Fame for all music in Minnesota? They found out nobody had, so it's been going strong for a very, very long time.
Wow. How long? Do you know exactly how long?
Oh, no. I'm just, off the top of my head, I think it's about 31 years, but I'm not exactly sure. So
well, I think it's a good idea to take a day trip down there sometime and go check it out.
It's so worth it. Really, really
on
fun.
A Saturday?
Well, and I think that they've got museum hours every single day, actually.
Oh, okay.
So Minnesota Music Hall of Fame, you can't miss it. When you get on the main drag, there's a big, huge, it looks very much like the statue. Oh. And it says Minnesota Music Hall of Fame, so there you go.
Okay. You also just finished that clip we were playing at the beginning here. That's from your new album. You just released a new album for Christmas.
It's a dream come true, actually. And the music director and arranger, Sean Turner, I've been working with since he was a kid. And he and I have been working together on and off for very, very many years. He's also the music director for my Barbra Streisand tribute show that I do. But we released it in officially December 1st, but it was out a little earlier. And it has songs on there that mean so much to me. It's a holiday album called Count Your Blessings. And if people remember, that's that incredible song that Bing Crosby sings in, is it White Christmas or Holiday Inn, one of the two? But it's all about when you're troubled and you can't sleep, count your blessings instead of sheep. So it's a nice message, and that's when I recorded it. I recorded it on the day that was the 12th anniversary of my major heart and aortic event last February, and I thought, well, I've got the name for my album because it was so humbling for me to be doing that at that very date, at that very moment. So there you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, there's more too. So the Peterson family got a stage named after, dedicated to your family in Richfield, where you're from.
We grew up in Richfield, Minnesota. And both my folks, Willie Peterson and Jeannie Arlen Peterson, were active musicians and singers. And as it turns out, they didn't know that they were going to raise 5 kids in their home in Richfield who would all end up in the music business. We didn't ever think about it that way. But as it turns out, music was the language in our house. And my sister always says a funny when we're doing an interview, she'll say, instead of going out to say to what does your dad do? What does your dad play? So Dad was a wonderful keyboardist. He was the first organist for the Minnesota Twins in 1961 when the team came to town. He was there for 6 years, and when he passed away at an early age, my mom, Jeannie Erlin, took over for a few years. But they were also staff musicians and singer on WCCO radio. And what was exciting about that time is they did the music live, but the commercials live too. And this was all before 1961 when we say canned music came in, which was LPs, albums. So they were very busy with their jobbing business. Dad was Peggy Lee's piano player. So many wonderful opportunities. And music happened in our lower level of that Richfield home. As life went on, we all worked with many wonderful people, some more internationally known than others. And we have received awards. We've been very fortunate. So being that we are still very connected to Richfield, my brother Paul has our childhood home. When Richfield was going to look to build a new band shell for different performances, from church groups to actual concerts going on, I was involved in the very beginning, and there was a gentleman who said, Patty, we're going to get this stage named after your mom. And that was so sweet. And it morphed into not just mom, but the whole family. And that was really an honor. That happened in June of this last year. And it was such an honor. And it's such a beautiful new stage in Veterans Park in Richfield. So there you go.
I was just going to say it's in Veterans Park, correct?
That is exactly where it is. And there's a plaque on the inside of the stage that you can go see where dedicated to the Peterson family. So isn't that great? Minnesota's first family of music. I think it says all of those things in there. So
lovely.
I know.
Lovely. Now you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but you have some more performances coming up. You've been doing just recently. You did
the Peterson Family Christmas Show?
That's the one, yeah.
Well, okay, all right. Well, that's because we do it. There's so many of us. How can you possibly keep it straight? I don't. Anyway, we had a sold-out show at Hopkins Center for the Arts. All the siblings were home from tour. Ricky just got home from playing with Fleetwood Mac, and Billy was in Europe with Ben Sidran, a really fun jazz guy. And Paul has been touring under the group's name of F Deluxe, or the Minneapolis Funk All-Stars, and he's got a great presence in Australia and Europe and in America, of course, too, and he'll be very busy coming up in January at the NAMM show as well. So, and Linda, she divides her time between Europe, Palm Springs, and the Twin Cities, so we were all in town. We included our cousin Russ on this, and then we had some of not the next generation, because Jason was touring with Michael Bolton and couldn't get off the last date. And then the next generation down, we call the fourth generation. So our grandchildren did a couple of songs. So that was a lot of fun too.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I tried to get tickets and it was sold out already. That's what happens when you wait too long, right?
My gosh, we feel so grateful. And speaking of which, I have to tell you about a song that's on my new Christmas CD. This is something that I have this perspective on Christmas morning when I'm looking at my children, and then I'm looking at my children's children, and the rustling of the paper, and the thanks, Grammy and Pop, I love all these things. And when I said to my sister, who is a wonderful songwriter, her name is Linda, Linda, I want to have a song on my album, and I know you're the one to write it, that talks about the gratitude I have on Christmas morning, and the gratitude that I have looking at these kids and all of the memories, and the fact that, my life was spared, and here I get to see all of this wonderful life ahead of me, and in this room on Christmas morning. And so she wrote a song called I Am Thankful. and it's on the CD, and it seems to be one of the favorites everybody has. So, and my grandkids even make a debut on it. So there you go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the CD that we have, I'm going to take home with me.
Yes, you are.
So I'll be listening to those and playing them on Christmas. So
good.
Because I'll be having my family over. So it's actually Saturday too. So
oh my gosh,
we'll be doing that.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you like it because it's a labor of love, and it was just Sean Turner and myself, and songs we love to do. Some hymns, of course. I have a version of Mary Did You Know on there, and I Wonder As I Wander is on there as well. And then some really fun, loving songs. One that's getting a lot of radio play is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And there's also Winter Wonderland on there, and there's No Place Like Home for the holidays. So a lot of fun tunes, and I feel like it's my legacy. This one is just such an incredible CD in that I hope people will pull it out every single year and add it to their family collection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now you've got all of those things taken care of, but you are a busy woman. You never stop. And let's talk about what's coming up, because you've still got more shows to come. And you're doing your Barbra Streisand show.
I am doing my Barbra Streisand show again. I gave it a
Your
little
tribute.
rest while it's a tribute show. She's got the voice of a queen. I mean, I'm telling you, she was one I would listen to when I'd go to my cousin's house, because my mom and dad would play Ella Fitzgerald and Nancy Wilson, the Four Freshmen, you know, and Mom also loved Oscar Peterson and Errol Garner. But growing up, I didn't really own, until I was probably 11 years old, a Barbra Streisand album. But I learned about her, and I always thought it was so cool to listen to this woman sing with this interesting timbre, the way she delivered through her nose. Okay, so anyway.
Which is why she didn't change it.
Well, exactly. And she was so incredible. And I would actually pretend I was putting on a show, and I would mouth the words and say, Mom, here. And I would mouth the words, not sing it. So from the time I was about 11 years old, and Barbra Streisand's third album, I've loved her music. I've sung it throughout my career. So I was encouraged to put together Memories, the music of Barbra Streisand. And it goes through the decades. I have Mary Jane Alm with me, my dear friend, Amy Lee as well, Wayne Cullinan, and then my orchestra is Sean Turner, Phil Cadidolo, wonderful bassist Tony Axtell, and then also the drummer is Peter Hennig. And so we're kind of a condensed group, but it's a lot of sound, and we do anything from her disco era to evergreen to Funny Girl, and it's a lot of fun. So I've got some shows coming up. The Dakota, I'm going to try it in a nightclub. So that's in February. And then back at Chanhassen Dinner Theater in May. And I hope everybody comes. So there you go.
Yes. What else have you got going?
I got to tell you this story. When I grew up in this jazz family, but jazz and R&B, I've had the good fortune of working in many scenarios that, you know, I get my rhythm and blues, which was the first way I started to sing, was Aretha Franklin and Chaka Khan. And in my late 20s, I started singing Ella Fitzgerald and a lot of those greats. But as it turns out, as I performed, I noticed that females were maybe one of the horn players in the band, or maybe the piano player, like my mom growing up. But in about 2015, I had a revelation. As I was getting ready to perform for the Twin Cities Jazz Festival, I called the head honcho, Steve Heckler, and said, you know what, Steve, I have an idea for you. And I think it's something we should really consider. And that is, I think we need an all-female jazz band. And he loved the idea. And by 2016, the Jazz Women All-Stars were born. So we've done several of the jazz festivals here in the Twin Cities. We've played MIM, which is the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
And that is a gorgeous stage. And we look to do more things, but my goal is to rotate all of the fantastic female jazz artists that we have in town. So Mary Louise Knudsen on piano, Joan Griffith, or Liz Draper on upright bass. I have Jendine Forberg, Sheila Early on drums. Kathy Jensen on sax, Sue Oates on sax. I've had Lucia Sarmiento, a young, talented saxophonist. Elaine Burt on trumpet. So the singers, Ginger Commodore, Debbie Duncan, Connie Evingson, myself, my sister Linda, Lori Dokken on piano. That's a whole nother story. So coming up in January, I have Lila Ammons joining me for the very first time at Crooners. So I keep that busy. We perform about 4 or 5 times a year, and it's marvelous. And I said to the audience at MIM, you know, when you close your eyes and you listen to them play, don't they sound just like women? You know, and it got a good laugh. And I'll tell you why. Mom said that the ultimate compliment, she was this brilliant jazz piano player, the ultimate compliment was, oh, you play just like a man. Think of the era. Of course they would.
Yeah.
So anyway, these women play the heck out of their instruments. And
they outplay the men.
Woo-hoo, they sing like crazy. So I really enjoy rotating the positions. And there's a lot of people. Laura Caviani's got to be part of this still. And so many wonderful singers. And anyway, that's what I keep busy doing. I can't stop all the great ideas that I think are coming through me. So there you go.
Well, I think you just need to keep following that advice that you're getting.
Yes.
If it's coming through you, there's a reason.
Well,
so
it's
you're getting
the passion.
Yeah.
Look how lucky I am. Isn't this just great?
Oh my gosh.
So much fun, so much fun. One more group that I'm involved in, and we have so much fun, it's like a secondary group of a cabaret group I was in for a very long time, now that I'm bringing up Lori Dokken, but we were called the Girls for many years, but now we have a I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar show. Lori Dokken on piano and vocals, Rachel Holder, Judy Vinar, who tours with Bobby McFerrin. Oh, she's been part of the Jazz Women All-Stars too. And then Miss Debbie Duncan. So she's our queen of jazz here in town. And we do specific shows, but the I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar are songs written by women, performed by women. And so, for example, Carole King and Annie Lennox and Patti LaBelle, you know, just to name a few. So that goes on periodically, and it's all on my website, PattyPeterson.com. It's easy to find out what I'm up to. So
yeah, we're actually, it's coming in on the lower thirds periodically here, so people will have an easy time to find you.
I'm loving that. Can I say congratulations to you for all the wonderful work that you have done with this show? You make a difference, Stephanie Allensworth, and I want to just say how proud I am of you two. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It just came to me as well. So you've got me all dumbfounded now.
Well, it's okay. You know, you have me here, and you're so lovely to talk about the awards. But you are a recipient of some pretty incredible awards via what you're doing with this show. So I have to take a minute and say congratulations.
We got an award with your show, the one we did in your lower level.
Yeah. Well. And that was a lot of fun, too, because it was a great reminder for me, you and me, to tell people to live their gift. You know, we are all born with gifts, and sometimes we forget what they are. But if you remember when you were 7, you knew exactly what you wanted to do, and you would dream about what you'd be when you grew up. And we forget that. We get involved in what everybody else wants. So I highly recommend people take the time, sit with yourself. What are those dreams? What is it you want to do? And really re-identify that, because there's 3 things that I think change. And I say this every time. Your relationships with your coworkers. Needless to say, the relationships with your friends, your family. But most important, the one with yourself. Because you're honoring why you were put on this earth. So there you go.
I try to live that life, yes.
I know you
to
do.
honor the why I'm here. And so thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
If I were to do what I was thinking I would do at 7, I'd be a hairdresser right now.
Oh, funny. I wanted to be a hairdresser too. So I just have to do it when I have to go out and perform, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
I wanted to do hair, and I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah. I had no idea I would be doing this at all. The acting, the shows, being an agent. having my own companies, I had no clue that any of that was possible until much later in life when I finally realized that I can do whatever I want to do.
There is a lesson in that, and I love that we're talking about this because when we get the idea to do something, a lot of people will squish that, but when we get the idea, it takes courage and support to walk into whatever you're envisioning. And I think that you exemplify that. I think a lot of the crazy dreams I have as far as what do I want to do next, I'd like to think that I exemplify that too. And it's all about creating, excuse me, a platform where we can not only show up, but also show off people who we believe in. And so there you go. This is what you do.
Well, I show off people I think are really cool and doing really good things and are doing things for the right reasons.
Oh, good.
And yeah, it just kind of fell onto me, and I just picked it up and ran with it. I say to myself, or I tell people, that if I can see something in my head,
yes,
if I can see me doing it in my head and envision it, I can do it. If I think I'm going to do something and I just can't get it in my head, it's just not going to happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's the way it's always been. It's like, I'm going to do this. I can see myself doing it. I go do it. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There it is. That's a little word to the wise for all of us. Exactly right. Very fun.
Well, I guess why stop now, right? You'll never find me sitting on a swing on a porch, retired. I'll be kicking and screaming all the way to my grave.
Well, listen, I think that, but you do it with compassion, though, too. I mean, thank you for what you do. It's great. Absolutely great. You and I have another love, too.
Yes,
and we don't ever get to talk about this one very much.
We never do. Let's do it. We got 6 minutes to talk about it. Let's get her in.
Well, you know what? I have fallen in love with spirituality and alternative medicine. And for a while, when I was a talk show host on WCCO Radio, those were my two main areas of having guests, from Deepak Chopra to Andrew Weil, to people like that. But I lived it because I had an experience with one of my sons being gravely ill with ear infections and the delays it created. But now I love having integrative medicine in my life. I have to call it that because you have a heart condition, you take your medications, but I support myself with things like essential oils and supplements so that I can be the best me possible. And I know that that's where you and I resonate really as well too. This is just a great way to live our lives as wholly and fully as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And sharing essential oils and holistic medicine. And I mean, I try to blog about it.
Good.
I give oil away all the time.
I do too.
I'm just like, come on. And it works. I mean, there's a reason it's out there, and it's a reason it's making a big splash, and everybody's trying to copy each other. And
right.
And it's making a big splash because it works. If you have the high quality stuff.
That you've got to look for the high quality stuff, and the information is out there without us name dropping. But I believe that you and I both believe in the right company, and we have had some fun with classes and telling people about it, because why not choose health? We can get so much more done, and that's what that one's about. I just, healthy, strong, integratively, let those dreams and those missions come and go forth.
Well, especially when, you and I both have rather busy schedules, but I'm awfully impressed with yours. And if you can stay healthy and keep yourself going and keep yourself healthy, you can continue to do this as long as you want to.
I agree. I had a good example in my almost 92-year-old mother who played until 6 months before she passed. She was vibrant. She emulated vibrancy, and she chose that. And she always said love of God, love of family, and love of music is what got her through. I just think love is what gets you through, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's the one common denominator through the whole thing, right?
Through it all. Love yourself, love everyone else, and let's go, and let's sometimes let go, right?
Yeah, well, that goes with loving yourself, right? Because when I've been saying this a lot lately, and I'm going to say it again. I discovered that when I stopped asking why and why did this happen? Why? You know, and started
Right.
asking myself, what can I do to change the outcome? Now, instead of why, I'm asking what. I'm making an action out of it instead of a sympathy or, you know, a self-deprecating
Sure.
sort of thing. It's like I recognize that there's something that I need to change. What can I do to effect that change and better my life and other people's?
Well, and when you envision how you can change, that creates an energy around the positive outcome. And that's what you see manifest. So there you
Exactly.
go. I love that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, are you writing any books?
You know, I started a book, and it was all about the live your gift concept. And I say concept, and because in its infancy, it was about what happened with my near-death experience, and you know, life on the other side of it, and choosing to find out what our gifts are, and exactly what I was referring to before. I waylaid it because then I was the primary caregiver for my mother in her last years, and what a wonderful thing to be devoted to. I've been getting nudged again to pick it back up and finish it because in 12 years' time since this happened, my perspective is different, and it is more universal even than just personal.
Right.
But it opens your eyes, I'll tell you, when you have that second chance at life. And yeah, so thanks for the nudge.
Yeah.
You and other people are saying, get her done.
Get her done.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a reason you had to stop and it
Yes.
didn't get done. And I think, and this is just my little intuition poking me here, because you had so much more that you could say now than you did then. And
right.
adding that extra component to it is going to make it very interesting.
Well,
Bio
good.
or whatever it is you're doing. Whatever you want to call it.
There's it could be so many things, including my vision when I got it was to write about my perspective. The second one would to have been I'd write a book about people who I feel are living their gifts. And the third one would have been about stories of people writing it to me about people they know who live their gifts. And so it was recommended that maybe I just write the short stories of living our gifts. And so that might be in the offing. You never know. I'm reconnected with some dear friends I met when I was hosting talk radio. So
Sounds like you've got more than one going.
we'll see. How about if we just, I'll get, you know, that and along with my speaking career. So I guess I'm not bored ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
But
Right?
I get in trouble when I'm bored, so
Yeah, right.
I gotta keep busy.
Or we'll connect. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Thank you.
we're winding down, and I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
PattyPeterson.com. Remember that? Go out
Right.
and check her out.
Right.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today,
Yeah.
and I've got just like 5 seconds here. I just want to call us out and say thank you for keeping it real with us here, Patty Peterson and I. on
Thank
Real
you very
People.
much.
Have a good one,
Thanks.
folks. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter. We're also streaming on YouTube, so check us out there. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's free.